Welcome back to Aims for the Win. Today we are trying something again. Today we are going for redemption! Okay. So, recently I found time to sit down with Nerdecrafter's Not Another Crap Kit again. I just have to make time for myself to do it. It's busy. Christmas is busy. Work is busy. You may remember a little bit ago I did my first pouring of the plaster for the kit, and it was a bit chaotic. It was a bit messy. It was a bit unorthodox. But you know what? We had fun. But today we're moving on from that. I am going to try to redeem myself with this kit because I've done a lot of these pours now because I bought backup plaster. I bought a lot of plaster. But so anyways, we're gonna start. We are doing the pour. It went way better. Just a little issues here and there. Anyways, let's begin. Okay. I was prepared to sit here and tell you how much easier it is to put this together now that I've done it a few times. But as you can see, I'm still struggling. But that's okay, I get it. I find putting the rubber bands on helps guide it a little bit so it holds it together while I'm trying to get it in there. Once the mold's together, it's time to mix the plaster. Once all the lumps are gone, it's time to pour it into the mold. I like to hover the funnel so I can see it pouring in and to prevent that from happening. And then you tap the table and we'll see you in 45 minutes. It has been an hour. We have crispy crunchies. Maybe my favorite part. Alright. I do have some laundry going on upstairs, and I hope it's not too loud. Okay. So, which is the arm? This is the arm that always breaks. So we are going to open it up. Wait, no. This is the arm that always breaks. Always makes me so nervous. I want it to just fall right out. Come on. Oh, look at the hole. That's my biggest hole yet. I really like how warm these guys are when they come out first. I just want to like snuggle them like laundry. Oh, haha. Okay, that was fine. Okay, so I did find this guy. The theory of this guy is like my favorite thing ever. So now we are just cleaning up all the edges. You can see his arm has a big bump on it, and that was because I didn't quite get the mold all the way together. It didn't leak, so that was great, but he has an arm bump. So now I am filling in the hole with some of the clay. Speaking of clay, here we go. We are going to soften some of it up. To do that, I'm going to knead it a little bit and use some of the oven-baked clay adhesive. I'm just going to jump back in here real quick and say I did not have the camera rolling the whole time. There are bits and pieces that are missing, so maybe I'll discuss them at the end because I know at least one thing that I should have mentioned and I did not. Yes, especially if you want to do something similar because it's kind of important. But anyways, there you go. A quick warning about using too much of the oven-baked clay adhesive. I noticed that when I got mine super soft, it was easier to work with, but it also was a little harder to work with because things didn't stay in place like I would like them to. So, yes, soften the clay a little bit, but don't go overboard. Another warning would be to make sure you always rub the adhesive a little bit. Like you saw me do it on the top of the head, but when I put the hat on, I just put a bead around and I just plopped the clay on it. I should have ran my finger through it and just spread an even coat around. But I think that caused me a little bit of problems because it was a little squishy. Can anyone tell what this is going to be yet? The hat's not exactly what I was going for, but it's been quite a while since I've actually sculpted anything. So there's the hat. Kind of. There's one piece missing, and I have a dog hair. Alright. So we are going to roll this guy out into a ball, maybe. Whew. Is that too big? Is that gonna even hold there? I don't think it's too big. I kind of like it. Okay. Those were not my fabric scissors. Shh, don't tell anyone. So, I have no idea what I'm doing. FYI. There we go. I wonder if that's gonna even just stay like that. I like that. Okay, it is time to turn this little guy into Santa Claus. He's got his hat, and now he needs his suit. I did end up struggling at the end with some of the waistband coming off, and I think it was because there was just too much of that on there, but I was able to fix it with epoxy sculpt, which you don't see in the video because that was a time when my camera was off and I didn't know. So I did use the epoxy sculpt. It was fun for what I used it for, fixing the little belt. I also used it for the candy cane you'll see later. I don't know why I didn't record some of this stuff. While Santa is doing a little bit of baking, I'm going to work on his toy bag, because what is Santa without a toy bag? I start with a foil ball and I cover that up. Then I'm going to make a little neck piece. I don't know. Opening to the bag, which is scrunched up with the things. I'm very descriptive. And I'm on to figure number 2. I was only going to do one, but then I had a great idea and decided to work on this little guy in between working on Santa. I broke off both arms, covered him in foil, and I'm going to try to turn him into something a little frosty. Let's peek at them during their final baking. You can see Frosty and Santa have features that weren't there before, like Santa's beard. The first coat of white was a little rough. I was worried at how thin it seemed, but I shook the thing up a little bit more and it started going on better. But white was a little difficult for me. This red, on the other hand, is amazing. I love it. Okay, Frosty's turn for his first white coat. I did a lot of white coats. Covering that gray with the white was rough. And here we have Santa. He looks like he has a swimming suit on. I really am not good at painting tiny details, and I think I need to buy some tiny brushes because I spent so much time
fixing up all the spots. Oh, and then Santa, I forgot to fill the holes on the back of him, and so I filled those in with epoxy sculpt and had to wait for that to dry, and then I painted. So here I am touching up Frosty's face. Black and white was a little rough too. Okay, Santa's eyes. I was not happy with how those were turning out, so I pried them off, and we're just going to try again. Repainting Santa's face.
Okay, we are done. We are finished. Should we talk about these guys? Here is my Santa. He has a removable candy cane, because Santas always have candy canes. He was not what I was going to make, but when I sat down to do it, I decided, spur of the moment, that Santa was my first choice. Growing up, my grandpa was my Santa Claus. He had a suit, he had candy canes, he even had a driver's license from the Oregon DMV that said he had a sleigh license to drive his sleigh in Oregon. So my grandpa was pretty special. Who wouldn't love Christmas if their grandpa was Santa Claus? You guys are gonna make me cry. Stop it. Stop it! Maybe I'll put in some pictures, because he was great. So this little guy is kind of modeled after my grandpa. Kind of not, because I have a lot of work to do on my sculpting abilities. And he is actually very basic, because his whole suit, all I did was put the trimming on and I painted his body red. Yeah. Anyways, there's my Santa. Next up, well, he also has his little toy bag that sits with him. I originally wanted to have him holding it, but I was getting frustrated with the clay and decided to make it a little simpler. This is filled with foil, I'm sure you saw in the video. So there's Santa. And then over here we have Mr. Snowman. He is a little bit bald, but we can fix that. Pardon me while I dress my snowman. The scarf isn't quite long enough because I did it rather quickly, and I probably should just get a little button to button it. But here is my little snowman with his little knit hat and his scarf to go along. I kind of wish I'd sanded the foot down a little bit more in a couple of spots to make him look more round. I had such a hard time getting his arms perfect on the wires in his body. I'm telling you, I hiccup every time. So in the end, I figured out how long I wanted them. I made the arms on the wires with like that much wire sticking out. I took separate wires and poked them into his body to figure out where I wanted them. Then I pulled those wires out. So I baked the arms on the wires separate from the body. And then when he came out and cooled down, I was able to trim the wires to fit in the holes. So they are a little bit more sturdy than one might think, because there are wires almost the whole way in. I was pretty excited at how that worked out, and I am very sad my camera was off when I did that. Another problem I had with both of these guys is I really stink at painting. The amount of detail and like getting in there, I needed tiny paint brushes, and I didn't have tiny paint brushes. So that's something I would like to make sure I have in the future. And there goes his hat. So anyways, thank you for watching this. I feel like I was totally redeemed. Oh, Santa's eyeballs. Let's talk about his eyeballs. But originally he had two little round eyeballs. I was going to use the UV resin, but the UV light went missing. That's kind of the story of my life. I can never find things. But anyways, I put 2 little round eyeballs on him and I started painting them and they looked so ridiculous. So I pried them off and I painted them. It's not exactly what I was going for originally, but I was on the struggle bus. So I looked up a bunch of different ways to draw eyes and I fudged it. I used Posca pens on them and I think that turned out. Thank you, Jackie, for this kit. And for all your inspiration. Yes, I'm just thankful that I can do this and have fun with it and maybe make someone smile. I don't know. I have a long ways to go with my editing and my cameras, but I'm having fun. Just wish I had more time for it. Okay, so thank you for watching. I have to go do Christmas shopping. See you guys later.